Olling. For the next jury panel, I would like to invite Mike Young and Prince Valuri to the stage to join me here for a conversation. Hello. This might be just my view because I know that Mike is here. I might just not be seeing him yet.
Here we go. I couldn't get my camera going for a moment.
Good morning. Because it's very early morning. Well, not so early, but still it's morning. Thank you for joining me on the stage. And I have a lot of questions prepared. So let's go. Across all the specialized portals that you have seen, what themes or shifts did you notice in helping developers navigate complex content or functionality? Maybe I ask Prince first.
Okay. Hey, everyone. Glad to be here. So I think out in the world in general, we are seeing AI being slapped on everything and as a silver bullet to solve all problems, but they've not been claims of effectiveness yet. But some of these portals that we've seen this year have been very deliberate about how they can leverage the power of AI for their portals, and we've seen some really good examples. And besides that, I think we've also seen some very amazing instances of sandbox environments that were really delightful to use, and it gives people an easy way to see their specific use cases in action and just get a better understanding overall of the capabilities of the portal.
Right. To contrast with that, we also saw examples of portals with partial implementations of AI that just look sloppy, but when done well, as a developer, as a writer, whatever, I could go to a portal, say, how do I get started with your software? Ask the AI bot, I need this in French. It would give me a get started guide in French, and I'd think, oh my gosh, this makes my life so much easier, instead of having to read all this complicated English. I mean, there's still so many portals out there who think that walls and text are the way to go.
So where would you say is if you were asked to help, okay, so is this AI assistance genuinely supportive or not? What would be the questions you would make the teams ask them themselves? How would they decide that?
So I work in developer productivity. So I see day in and day out how people are interacting with various systems. And I can tell you for a fact that engineers spend a lot more time trying to understand the work that needs to be done than actually implementing changes. That's a relatively easy and quick thing. This is where I feel AI is a game changer, right? So documentation is often written from the perspective of the author, but every individual is different. And some people learn better from examples, some people learn better from detailed descriptions. And with a common knowledge base of information, I think AI is able to cater to these individual needs and help everyone be more productive in a way that works for them. It's more personalized.
In the past, when I refer to walls of text, I refer to writer efforts to try to customize things for everyone. And at that point, people who try to read through it to get to what they want, they get lost. With AI, they can focus on what they need.
So what would be genuinely exciting is if all of these different needs would be served, but without all of that in your face straight up. And you imagine that the game changer, the technology that will make this possible is somehow AI assistance.
AI assistance, but it only works if you have well-organized documentation to begin with. If you have everything on a single page, an example, explanation how OAuth works, then procedures on how to implement it, AI is likely to get lost and quote unquote hallucinate and mix things up.
Yeah, solid foundations are always critical.
Let me ask you from the opposite angle. What would be practices, patterns, phenomenon that you would be very happy to see the whole industry to move on? Like it's time to retire that idea.
I actually had a very similar thought as somebody else that mentioned this earlier in the show today, is just gated information. It slows people down and potentially, again, staying on this theme of AI, it restricts large models from also reading this information. A lot of people start from ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude today, and having this information available there will likely increase the visibility of the overall APIs and also the understanding. And again, when I am in a portal trying to understand it, having things gated is always a challenge.
Frequently, when evaluating portals, we have to ask for an API key or an auth key or whatever. That can frequently take days. By that time, I moved on to the next product and lost interest. If you have a portal where such things are set up in a sandbox or available to you almost instantly with say, a single sign-on, that can help keep your interest in the portal.
So this is a recurring advice for years. And sometimes it feels like everyone knows that this would be great, but somehow the whole complex organization just it's very hard to move. If and there's legacy situations, and then there's this year's call for proposals for the AI the Docs track that will be in Paris in December. I'll have to come back to that. I have tickets. But so when I was trying to write the call for proposals with as much empathy as I could gather, I came to this that everyone is just stuck in this legacy constraints, budget constraints, and yet infinite potential and infinite expectations. And you're like somehow stuck in the middle, and it's like it feels like a settle point where you're holding on, doing your best. If you could offer one piece of advice or one piece of encouragement to teams working on interface documentation, what would that be?
So I've built developer portals and I've used numerous developer portals, and I can tell you that the quality, the functionality, and the overall look and feel of some of these portals has been pretty outstanding, as you'll see in some of the winners later. And I think one common thing that I also liked a lot across quite a few portals was the weaving of use cases and real world examples of how to use something along with the underlying APIs is a very powerful feature to have, because it helps people connect the dots much more easily instead of just saying this is how auth works versus saying this is how you use it is very powerful. So yeah, great work by a lot of the folks here.
And that's exactly right. If you can make it apply to somebody's particular situation, this is how you can set up payments for your system. Great. But yes, we have to quote unquote live in the real world and meet production requirements. I have the good fortune of being broken out, and right now I'm helping to set up an AI agent to address some of these issues. Otherwise, you're stuck in the cycle that Laura suggested. Oh my God, I have to get these releases out, and where am I going to get time to actually pay attention to developer and user needs?
Thank you very much. And as I said in the previous conversation, also in all of the descriptions that I'm reading up, your suggestions, opinions, pet peeves, and heartfelt advice is also there. Some of the diplomatic advice we are going to restrain into long-form written content, but I hope that everyone can learn. And I thank you very, very much for the effort, the attention, the empathy, and the knowledge that you have put into these evaluations.
And thank you, Laura, for helping us be empathetic about all this instead of how we really felt.
It's always easier to be critical, but of course, you know how much work goes into the last 20%. Thank you very much for both of you. And